O'Neill case, D20 C03457LT. Mr. Joseph O'Neill. Do you have any information on that case, Mr. Morton?
No, Your Honor. I just know that Mr. O'Neill still has a past due balance. Was it actually my manager is online? Todd, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mr. Placer?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I was going to
He
say.
abandoned his home as far as I know as of yesterday. We found out he up and left.
Okay, so they're not working with eviction diversion. Do they own the home?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so the home is still sitting on the lot, and you haven't received rent, and they're not working with eviction diversion.
Correct.
Okay.
So did you, I'm not clear on that, Mr. Morton. Did you say, Mr. Placer, that you did receive rent?
No, Your Honor. Was it what clarified was it he said that Mr. O'Neill he believes he may have abandoned the home, the manufactured home, since it's a manufactured home community. He has not received rent, and he's not received, and they're not working with eviction diversion.
What's the amount that you're claiming, Mr. Morton?
Including court costs, Your Honor, the total is $2,182.66.
$2182.66.
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. Placer, when you go to look at it, how do you get the impression that it's abandoned? Just because it's empty?
It's empty. It looks like the house has been trashed a little bit. He tried to move or take the shed. It looks like it's tipped on its side. And he did say a few months back that if he didn't get any assistance from 21st Mortgage, he was going to just let it go back. And that was the last conversation. And I checked the home yesterday, and it looks pretty abandoned.
Huh. Is that like you looking through the windows?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is anybody connected to Zoom right now, either audio or otherwise, that represents Joseph O'Neill? Okay. Well, the paperwork looks like there was posted service.
Okay.
So the next date we'll be giving to Mr. O'Neill will be October 29 at 8:30. We don't go forward with anything right now, Mr. Morton, but I'll make a note of what we talked about.
Understood completely, Your Honor. And I know the court should have proposed judgment, but first hearing, no personal service. So the court, I know it was Judge O'Hara, was it last week? So you're going to follow the same procedure, which is the matters are going to be adjourned until next Thursday.
October 29 at 8:30.
Okay.
Will that be me or that? Will be Judge O'Hara. That will be Judge O'Hara's court.
Okay, so it's going to be in front of Judge O'Hara at that point, but it's going to follow that Thursday at 8:30 adjournment procedure. Okay.
Right. All right, Mr. Morton, you've got the Kentwood Grand Rapids Mobile Home Park with the Antonio Johnson.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, here we go.
Is anybody on the Zoom that's connected to Antonio Johnson or representing Mr. Johnson? Okay, what's the claim that you make, Mr. Morton, on behalf of Kentwood Mobile Home Park?
Your Honor, at this time, Mr. Johnson has failed to pay the rent. The total past due, including court costs, is $6,562.10. So that's $65.62.10.
Wow, that's a lot. All right, and the paperwork that we have shows that it was posted service.
Okay.
So similar in this situation with Mr. Johnson, it's 1:35 and nobody's connected. I don't know whether they still will, and I know you'll be on for a bit.
Yes.
We can go back to it if we need to, but we'll just note that the defendant failed to appear for this, and he'll be given notification of the October 29 at 8:30 a.m. meeting. Okay, thank you. We'll go to Brian Field. He's there, and I see him as part of this Zoom. Mr. Field, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You're a little bit early, but that's good because Mr. Morton is already here, so we can get started talking about your case.
Okay.
I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and this is D20 C03454LT, and this is the case where Dutton Mills is alleging that you're a bit behind in your rent. So let me just ask the attorney for Dutton Mill first, and then I'll talk with you, Mr. Field. What's the amount that's claiming is owed, Mr. Morton?
Your Honor, at this time, including the month of October and the court cost, the total is $2,686.21. So that's $2686.21. And again, so we're all on the same page. That includes the month of October, and that also includes the court costs related to the filing.
Okay. Mr. Field, do you live there with anyone else?
No, currently I live there by myself.
All right. This is called a summary proceeding hearing, and the state of Michigan during the COVID pandemic has started a program called the Eviction Diversion and Rental Assistance Program, and it's really meant to try to help people who have fallen behind in their rent from being evicted. This, what we're doing right now, is called a first pretrial hearing. We will not resolve the case today. Right now, I can tell you, you should put on your calendar next week, October 29. Well, actually, it's beyond next week, isn't it?
No.
It's a week from today.
No, it's Thursday, John.
It's Thursday. I'm sorry, it's a week from this Thursday. Yeah, it's October 29 is Thursday at 8:30. That's when it's scheduled for your next appointment, Mr. Field. And what they're doing is they're trying to see whether you want to talk with anybody or get further advice. You definitely have the right to have counsel. And if you couldn't afford to hire an attorney, we have a representative from Legal Aid that's part of the Zoom right now that you can talk to. Also, you may qualify for certain type of financial assistance. I don't know if you're a veteran or if you've talked with anybody from the Salvation Army, but we have a representative from the Salvation Army that can talk to you as well. You don't need a judgment to receive assistance from the Salvation Army. Just having the summons and complaint from the court are sufficient. There are a couple other programs that we use sometimes, the Dispute Resolution Center, where people sit down and talk something through and see if they can resolve it. We use them. We also sometimes have what we call a conditional dismissal, where the parties will make an agreement and they actually conditionally dismiss the case and follow through with what their agreement is. We definitely would want you to hook up remotely next week, Thursday the 29th at 8:30 a.m., because that's when further action will be taken on what happens with your case. Right now, they say that you're behind almost $2,700. That includes court costs that they've paid to have the case heard. Now, Mr. Field, do you feel like you understand basically what's going on?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree that you have fallen behind?
Yes, I do.
And it's just you said. No one else lives with you, so you just deal with yourself.
That's correct.
Okay. Have you ever reached out and talked to anybody from Legal Aid or the Salvation Army?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do you have the desire, to talk to either one of those representatives?
Actually, I would like to be able to pay it off by October 30th.
It'd be great if you could, and they probably would talk with you about that. Mr. Morton, I know that your office has been working with the eviction diversion and rental assistance program. He's thinking he can make the whole payment by the 30th of October. Is that something you could talk directly to Mr. Field about between now and next week?
Certainly, Your Honor. I mean, was it Mr. Field he feels like he's going to be able to pay it off? He's not going to be working with the eviction diversion program. I mean, was it that would resolve the case? That's simple. Because that would be the balance that would be due through the month of October.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Field, can you think of any other questions that you want to ask me?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to come up with the $2,700 by 30th.
Right. Okay, that sounds good. But I really need you to zoom in next week, Thursday at 8:30.
Okay.
And you'll get information. You'll get information from them, from the court about how to zoom in, just like you did today.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot then, Mr. Field. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Boss or Bossy, what representative are you?
Your Honor, she's with Alpine Meadows.
Okay, thanks. That helps me. It looks like Arlene DeKreiger is having a little trouble zooming in. She's trying to restart her computer. So we're gonna have to give her a little bit of time if we run into people. I don't see anybody else live. Are there any tenants right now that are part of the Zoom meeting? Okay, the next one I'll call at 1:45. Well, we're not quite there yet, so I guess I'll wait a minute. Do you say it boss or bossy?
It's Bossy.
Bossy? Okay, so if we have any questions from Alpine, we'll ask you, but right now we don't have any for you, but just hang tight. I just wasn't sure.
Okay.
That helps me when you put that on your name thing. Maybe you did it, Amanda. Yeah, she types it in and then under your name it says Alpine Meadows Rep, Patty Bossy. Because
Okay.
otherwise because that helps me know who's going, who's who. Okay, so it's a few minutes before 1:45. I'd like to get these other ones.
We have a couple unidentified.
Okay, we'll get them. All right. The guy in the car with the big black t-shirt on, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I
cannot
can.
hear you. Now I can.
Okay,
Thank
there we
you.
go. You're very
I
welcome.
gotcha. Super. Tell me your last name.
It is Schieber, Schieber.
Ed.
Yes.
Okay, I got your case. It's not scheduled till 2 o'clock, so we got a few minutes, but actually, we're looking for the Northview Harbor representative who's going to be checking in shortly.
Sure.
So just give me a few minutes on it, Mr. Schieber, but when I get him. Now, is Cheryl going to be with you, or are you just going to tell her what's going on?
I'm sorry, I got a phone call.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Is Cheryl going to be with you, or are you going to just tell her what's going on?
I'll just tell her what's going on. She is actually homesick today.
Okay, but you guys are still a married couple and live together.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Just hang tight. I'll be back with you.
Sounds good.
All right. Are there any other audio connections with the Zoom that have not been identified? Mr. Humphrey?
Yes.
Can you identify who you're representing?
Uh,
Are you Sean?
Yeah, Sean and.
Oh, you're Sean Humphrey. Okay, and is Teresa with you?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys, yours isn't set for 2 o'clock either, and it's 1:45.
Okay.
And I don't have that attorney yet hooked up, but I will shortly. And when I do, then I'll be able to talk to you both.
Okay.
All right.
But it's not set till 2, so give me a few minutes. I have a couple other
Okay.
cases before that. But if that attorney hooks up, I'll just start doing your case, because if you're both here, then that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Hang in. Did anybody connect for Michelle Gill, Gill? Anybody for Michelle Gill? All right, let's put this on the record. It's D20 C03 455LT. It's Dutton Mill versus Michelle Gill. And Mr. Morton, tell me what the claim is on the Gill matter.
Your Honor, at this time, Ms. Gill is past due and owing, including the month of October and the court costs of $2,465.79. So that's $24,65.79.
It does look like there was personal service on this case. Have you had any connection or contact with Michelle Gill, Mr. Morton?
No, Your Honor. I would refer to Mr. Placer. Todd, are you there?
Yep,
Todd, have you had any communication with Ms. Gill at all recently?
none.
Okay.
No.
Your Honor,
All right.
based on that, we would ask that a default judgment for possession be entered on Miss Gill. And Miss Gill shows up a little later, as the court said. I think I have ones till 3:15 or 3:30 or so. So
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
be here.
So we'll just keep going. All right. So on that case, it looks like Ms. Gill did not appear. It's at site 178 in East Mill Run in Caledonia. There was personal service, so we'll enter the default judgment, and it'll be the 2465.79.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to the Kentwood Mobile Home Park case with the Tamang case, Tamang. Did either of the Tamangs connect with the court? It doesn't look like anyone has connected so far. Mr. Morton, why don't you tell me what the claim is on that one?
Kentwood. I apologize, Your Honor. I only have the one Kentwood listed.
It might be that this case got resolved and dismissed and we didn't know it. Last name is Tamang. Case number is D20C03939LT. It's two names, but they're both the same last name.
Tamang. Okay, Your Honor. I will look on that one. I'll have someone check on that right now, and then I'll get back to the court.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just get back to that one. That brings us to the 2 o'clock cases, and we're not quite there yet, so hang tight, everybody.
Actually, Your Honor, I did have one question. I thought we had one other
Yes?
130, and maybe I was mistaken, and maybe we already called it. Thomas Gazebeck, which is 03555LT. Do you have that one?
That's this case. We had it set up for 2:15, and I'm not sure why, but
Okay.
Mandy Streeter zoomed in earlier on that, and I told her that it was set at 2:15.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wait till 2:15 on that one, Mr.
Okay.
Morton, but I do
Understood.
have it. It ends in 555.
Yes. Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine, Your Honor. I
So
understand.
I will get to that. Okay.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. Mr. Giesbach was not the one that zoomed in, but it was a occupant by the last name of Streeter. So I was having her call back at 2:15. She said she would. Tell me again. Tell me again. You're in the right place, Ms. Shank. We're just a little bit early. Your case is at 2 o'clock,
Okay.
but we've got you. We see you. And Ms. DeKreiger, I see you. Thanks for hooking up. I know you were having a little bit of difficulty, but you did it great. So thanks so much for that.
Yeah, I'm still having technical difficulties, so I'm gonna use my phone for a bit, so I might transfer over once I have it figured out.
Okay, not a problem. We'll see how we do. Maybe what I can do is talk to Mr. Scheiber and Ms. Shank and the Humphreys. Are the Humphreys still on? Because if either one of them need to talk to Mr. Henry or Mrs. DeKreiger, we could start that even before the attorney comes. Mr. Scheiber, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Your case has to do with the Northview Harbor, that D20 C03628LT, and it had to do with really just a termination of tenancy. It looks like they're trying to recover the property itself. Is that an apartment complex?
Yes, it is. I used to work for them and I changed jobs and I am no longer able to live here. So,
Yeah. So you're not really planning on staying there. You just got to figure out where you're going.
yeah, I actually did figure out where I'm going. And actually, I am moving this coming weekend. I'm moving the 24th.
Okay.
So if I could have until this weekend, that would be amazing.
Okay, so you're moving out on October 24,
Yes,
which is
ma'am.
actually this Saturday.
Yes, it is.
I don't have the attorney from Levine's office right this second, but I'm sure that would work out. I just don't know if they're asking for any money. I don't think they were.
Well, I did offer to pay, pay them before, but they refused. I'm thinking because if they did accept it, then maybe they would have to let me stay. I'm not sure how that works, but
Right.
but
But
I'm
your
definitely
plan is to be out by Saturday, the 24th?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And if we were talking time, are you saying like noon or 5 o'clock? What are you looking at?
It's gonna be probably closer to 5 o'clock Saturday. And
Yeah.
I'd actually like to have Sunday so I can come back and do, some final things and also clean up a little bit. I don't want to leave a mess.
Last day for cleanup would be 10/25/2020.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, just hang on a minute and see if the attorney shows up. Just give me a second. I'll be with you, okay?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Shank? And the Humphreys? I just want you guys to listen up a second if you would.
Okay.
Teresa, was it Sean? Yeah, it was Sean, wasn't it? You guys are spouses? I can't hear you talk because you're on mute. You have to say join audio. Or there's a button that says unmute.
I
or
see it.
connect.
Can
Yeah,
you
that's it. You did it. Yeah, now it's good. So I'm sorry, were you and Sean spouses?
No, Sean's my son.
Oh, it's your son and mother? I mean, you're the mother? Well, you know
Yes.
who you are. I said that funny. Okay. So here's what I was going to say. For you guys to just hear me out a second on this. This is what's called a summary proceeding. And with Ms. Shank and with the Humphreys, it's a different landlord, but similar type of situation.
Okay.
We call it a summary proceedings. And today we're not going to really resolve anything on your cases. We
Okay.
call it a pretrial hearing. But
Okay.
during the COVID pandemic, there's been a new rule called the Eviction Diversion and Rental Assistance Program that the Supreme Court has started.
Yes.
And that gives everybody a right to have an attorney. So you have a right to have an attorney. And if you weren't able to financially afford an attorney, the court has a legal aid representative as part of the Zoom that you could talk to if you wanted to. There's also a representative from Salvation Army that you're allowed to talk to if you have any questions to see whether you seek out any assistance through that eviction diversion and rental assistance program, which the whole thing was designed during the pandemic to try to help Michigan residents not be evicted that fell behind in their rent. Now, you don't need a judgment of eviction to receive the assistance from the Salvation Army. Just having the summons and complaint from the court are enough. Sometimes we use a program called the Dispute Resolution Center to try to resolve matters, and that's available also. Sometimes parties will do what they call a conditional dismissal, where the landlord and tenant get together and work out an agreement, maybe a payment plan or some kind of partial payment plan, and then they dismiss the case where the tenant catches up with the
Right.
payments. Yeah. So
Well-
anyways, there's a lot of different programs that are going on right now, but I want you all to be aware, both Sean, Teresa, Humphrey, and Ms. Shank, that next week, Thursday, you're going to have to Zoom in again. Because while today won't be a final decision, next week could be. And next week, you Zoom in on October 29, which is a Thursday, at 8:30 in the morning. You'll get paperwork on how to Zoom in, much like you did with this, but it's going to be my colleague who's Judge O'Hara, so it won't be me.
Okay.
October 29, Thursday at 8:30. That's really what you need to look at as it relates to it. So, let's see.
Your Honor,
Yes,
was it Attorney Ian Morton? Was it I had a chance and I was able to locate that file. If you'd like to recall the Kentwood versus Tamong matter.
okay, I will. Just give me a second.
Understood.
Okay, so then is anybody hooked up with the Levine law firm on the Levine cases?
Actually, I do on mine, Jarrett E. Levine.
Yeah, that's the attorney that's representing that landlord in your case, Mr. Humphrey. So then I was
Okay.
just trying to find out what they're alleging that you owe. Do you have an idea, Ms. Humphrey, what you guys owe?
Yes, I do. And we were, not planning on staying here because we can't afford to live here anymore. I'm still on disability. I've been on disability since January 31st, and I'm still waiting on my disability. So, we have to find a cheaper place to live because my son is the only income and he's the one that's helping until this is all resolved.
Yep.
I
Well, why
would,
don't you do this? Why don't you take a minute and talk to the representative from the Salvation Army? I think it might be helpful if you talk to Ms. DeKrieger. She can kind of get a feel for what you guys fit into anything. If you do, I'll talk to Ms. Shank for a second and then I'll get back to both of you. We're going to put you in one of those chat rooms,
okay,
but I'll still talk to you, Sean and Miss Humphrey,
okay.
Okay.
when you're done. Okay, Ms. DeKrieger? Okay. Ms. Shank, do you have an idea what's owed in your case?
Actually, I did the Salvation Army thing and, I talked to them today, and with Alpine Meadows, we have an agreement and a check is gonna be sent to them this week. And that I was
Okay.
supposed to ask for a conditional dismissal for when that check comes in.
Yep. All right, so Mr. Morton, on the Cheryl Shank case with Alpine Meadows, do you have an amount that's owed on that?
I know right now, Your Honor, we have a past due balance, including the month of October and court costs. And I'd have to refer to, was it Ms. Bossy, in regards to if she's received the EDP numbers. But as of today's date, there's $2,040.49 past due, which is $20.40.49. Again, if she's taking part in the EDP process, those numbers could be adjusted slightly. Patty, do you have you gotten the numbers back on Ms. Shank yet?
Yes, in fact, I think we've already entered into the agreement. We're just waiting on the check.
Okay. Well, I'll just put down in my notes that it's probably going to be a conditional dismissal, which it sounds like everybody's on board with that.
Yep.
And Ms. Shank, what's going to happen is by this time next week, Thursday, the 29th, you guys will have the check and you'll know.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
But
so
you
does that-
still have to zoom in. You still
Okay.
have to zoom in next Thursday at 8:30 to finalize that, okay?
Yep.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So then don't forget to zoom in next Thursday and then they'll finalize it. But the representative, I'm sorry, Mr. Morton, what was her last name? Bossy?
Bossy.
Yeah. So Ms. Bossy, you're waiting the paperwork. You'll get that. You'll be able to tell Mr. Morton, so when he's on next week with Judge O'Hara, they can finalize it.
Correct. In fact, the paperwork
Yeah.
I think's already been signed, so.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, then Ms. Shank, you're free to go. Don't forget to zoom in next Thursday, 8:30.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, let me get back to that one you were talking about, Mr. Morton, the Tamangs. Okay, I have Shearing Tamang and I have Chianti Tamang. Go ahead, Mr. Morton.
Your Honor, for the record, Ian Morton of Palace Law of Kentwood. This is a termination non-renewal matter, Your Honor. Was it the tenants have failed to appear? It was filed as a non-renewal. There were other grounds not related to non-payment, which including unauthorized occupants. But again, this was initiated as a non-renewal notice. So this was not a non-payment case. So at this time, depending on the how service was completed, we either ask the judgment be entered today or the matter be reset for the 29th to seek entry of a judgment.
Well, it looks like service was substituted on Shearing Tamang, but personal service on Chianti Tamang.
No.
But there was no monies being requested.
That is correct, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, based on the fact that, personal service was not complete on both parties, we just asked the matter be set for the 29th, and we'll seek a judgment against both parties at that time.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do it that way. They'll still be given notice about the 8:30 a.m. hearing.
Absolutely.
Court record today will reflect that neither of the Tamangs appeared or contacted the court. Again, it's D20C03939LT. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's see. Did anyone show up for Tammy Schooneman? Okay, let's talk about that one, Mr. Morton. It's D20C03472LT.
Tammy Schooneman and Devin Irons.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd move for a dismissal of this matter.
Okay. That's probably why they're not here. Okay. All right, that's fine. And then Ms. Shoemaker, I saw you with Kelsey Peterson?
Peters.
Oh, Peters.
I'm Kelsey Peters.
Oh, okay. It seemed like we had the name of Shoemaker, Nicole, you, Kelsey Peters, and a guy by the name of Jeffrey Johnson.
Yes, we're all here.
Okay, so all three? And all
Yes,
three are adults, fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. And that's from Levine's law firm. Is anybody representing Levine?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Okay, Ms. Wilburn? If you would look up that file for me, D20C03809LT, Kelsey Peters, Jeffrey Johnson, and Nicole Shoemaker. What's the claim, Ms. Wilburn?
Your Honor, at this time, there is rent to retain of $12,575. And there should be the property manager. Her name is Ann. I'm not sure if she's in the waiting room or if she is on the screen here.
Is
I'm
the
here.
property manager for?
There she is. She's on the Galaxy S6, I believe.
Okay, okay.
A little bit of background on this one. We have received the CDC affidavits, however, for two of them. Ms. Shoemaker is believed to have moved out. However, the remaining two defendants did not qualify on their own, so she could not be removed from the lease. The remaining two individuals have stated a couple times that they plan to move out. However, nothing has been done about that. And my client has reason to believe that these CDC affidavits, that these two tenants do not meet all of the prongs. There's been absolutely no payment, no attempt for a partial payment since March.
Okay, let me just say this for Ms. Peters and Mr. Johnson. This is called a summary proceeding hearing that we're talking about here. And Amanda, did you have that sheet? I think I put it in one of the files. Can you get it or get one for me? And with the summary proceedings, we're not going to finalize the case today. We'll talk a little bit about it. It's like a pretrial hearing, but it won't be finalized today. So Ms. Peters and Mr. Johnson, you guys have to put on your calendar for next Thursday, the 29th of October, to zoom in at 8:30. You've got to do that because you'll get more finalization on what's happening with the case. Having said that, you have the right to have an attorney. And you said that Ms. Shoemaker is with you there, Ms. Peters, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this affects all three of you, of course. The attorney has just indicated that two of you filed the CDC affidavits. I was thinking that's Peters and Johnson, but I don't know. Who is it? Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
But Ms. Shoemaker, you got to connect next week too, Thursday, October 29 at 8:30. You all have the right to have an attorney. We have legal aid on the Zoom call today if you wanted to talk to them. We also have a representative from the Salvation Army. And
Yes,
while
I've
I
already
get
made
what
contact.
Salvation Army?
I've already made contact with Salvation
Okay,
Army and
you
I've
have
already
made
filled out the
contact?
paperwork. I'm just
Okay.
waiting on Bloomfield to fill it out.
Okay, that's fine. So let me say that.
Your Honor,
Ms.
if I
Pete?
may,
Yep.
for this particular tenant with that balance, they're not willing to participate in eviction diversion program due to only $3,500 being covered and the balance being over $12,000.
Yeah. Okay,
And I've
so
tried
I'm
to
just
make
gonna,
partial payments and they refuse to take anything.
yeah, I'm not doubting that. Well, let me just say this. When we have those CDC affidavits filed, there's a lot of confusion with them and they do have to meet certain protocol and qualifications. But you guys should try to do whatever homework you can do to be prepared for next week with Judge O'Hara, the 29th.
We have
Because
everything.
when the CDC affidavits are filed, we usually just stop, even though your position, Ms. Wilburn, on behalf of the plaintiff, is that they don't meet the qualifications. That will have to be taken up as well. Over $12,000 is a huge amount. I mean, one of the highest that I've seen, separate and apart that it's 3 people. You know, that's a lot too, but you guys have to just get more information as to exactly what's going to happen here. We use programs that are available that help with resources, but like Ms. Wilburn said, if the plaintiff isn't willing to be part of the eviction diversion and rental assistance program, they're not required to. It's not mandatory for the landlord. So that's another issue that you got to look at. I wanted to quick tell you that there are programs out there like the Dispute Resolution Center of West Michigan, which is a possible source of quick case resolution. We use them sometimes. We also have programs that are like a conditional dismissal, which a lot of them under this diversion program we use. You know, they dismiss a case based on whatever the agreement is with the parties. Not so much in this case because there isn't an agreement yet. But I'm just saying to Ms. Peters, to Mr. Johnson, and to Ms. Shoemaker, you guys have to sub in, Zoom in, I meant to say. Zoom in next week, October 29 at 8:30. So I was writing a note here and I stopped when I was talking and writing at the same time. But Ms. Wilburn, you said there's never been payment since when?
It's March.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ms. Peters and Mr. Johnson and Ms. Shoemaker, you guys are going to want to look into it again. Is there anybody as part of our Zoom right now with legal aid or with our representative that's Salvation Army that you want to talk to now?
I would like to talk with someone now, yes.
Okay. Do you have a preference on whether you talk to legal aid or whether you talk to the Salvation Army representative?
I have reached out to legal aid. I have talked to an Owen Curry regarding the case, and I have talked to a young lady with Salvation Army. I filled out my affidavit. I have another one that Nicole can fill out, and then she's going to look at her case and get back to me tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, why don't we put you in a room with Mr. Henry? And Mr. Henry, we can have you be part of a discussion. There's 3 defendants. So Ms. Peters is with Mr. Johnson and Ms. Shoemaker. All 3 are tenants. And then we'll get back to you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Ellis, did I see you? Yes? If you just unmute yourself, then we can talk a minute. Yep, that's good.
Yes.
Ms. Ellis, I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and I have you in front of me on this case with, what's the name of that apartment complex?
Bloomfield?
Bloomfield? So is Willie your spouse?
No, it's my father.
Your dad? And are
Yes.
you going to tell him what's going on if he's not part of this with you and me right now?
He knows already.
Okay. So our file is D20C03811LT. In this case, Ms. Wilburn, what's the claim that you're making against the Ellis family?
Your Honor, at this time, the rent to retain is $6,201 for a cost of $197.01 for a total of $6,398.01.
639801?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And what was the actual rent number? 60 what?
6201 even.
Yeah. So, Ms. Ellis.
Your Honor.
Yep.
If I may on this one, she has tried to make some partial payments and she has come in and she's been in communication with management. They are willing to consider eviction diversion for her. They would want to see what kind of numbers would be paid. So that is something that they're open to with this particular resident.
Okay. what I was gonna say, Ms. Ellis, is I want to make sure you're clear with your dad about what's going on, because anything that happens to you is gonna happen to him. Let's get real, it's the same apartment.
Yes.
This eviction diversion program is something that's been, processed through this pandemic, and it's meant to help Michigan residents from being evicted when they fall behind in their rent. Today, we're not going to finalize your case. You have to Zoom in next week, Thursday, the 29th of October at 8:30 in the morning. Your dad should too, really, with you if he can. But it's next week, October 29 at 8:30. The case today won't be resolved, but it's very important that you Zoom in next week, especially if you're going to work on a program through the eviction diversion program with Bloomfield. You do have a right to have an attorney, and we have a representative from legal aid as part of the Zoom. We also have programs like the Salvation Army, and there may be some veteran programs if you or your dad were a veteran that they might be able to get some assistance from. You don't need to have a judgment to receive assistance from the Salvation Army. The summons and complaint on the court case are sufficient. There are programs that we use like the Dispute Resolution Center. Sometimes if parties make a conditional dismissal, which a lot of times happens with this diversion program where you make a side agreement, they actually dismiss the case. It's called a conditional dismissal. Both sides agree, and then they work on whatever the payment is to catch it up. That's what you'll be working on and talking about with the representatives that might help you out, that you already have started with, and next week when you talk to Judge O'Hara on Thursday, the 29th. Now, can you think of anything that you have as a question for me?
I just would like to add, at the time I wasn't working, but I did start, well, I'm going to be starting a new job next Monday. So
Good.
I will be having income to be able
That's
to pay
good.
back.
That's always a good thing, but it's a lot of money. I mean, let's get real. This is a ton. This is a lot of money. So
Yes.
you'll want to continue talking. Now, is there anybody today from legal aid or from Salvation Army you want to talk to?
I can talk to somebody from the Salvation Army.
Okay. So Ms. DeKreiger is talking to one other person. Oh, she's ready. So
Yeah, I'm
if you
back.
could put Ms. Ellis and Ms. DeKreiger in a room so they can talk a minute. And then you don't have to come back with me, Ms. Ellis, but you do have to Zoom in next week. All right?
Okay.
Don't forget to do that. Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me get back, if I can, to the Humphreys. Are they back?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, I get that you don't plan on staying at the complex, and I get that, Mrs. Humphrey, you're on disability and you're working with your son on whatever income he has.
Right.
You're going to probably know more when you Zoom in next week,
Okay.
Thursday, the 29th. You just finished talking with the representative from,
Yes.
was that Legal Aid or Salvation Army?
That was
The woman?
Salvation Army.
Yeah, okay. And I don't know if that helped or if they gave you some ideas, but follow through with what she's saying if there's anything there.
Okay.
But definitely Zoom in next week.
Yeah.
Ms. Wilburn, what was the total amount on that? The one with the Humphreys?
Rent to retain is $8,437. Court costs are $197.01, and that brings the total to $8,634.01.
And Ms. Humphrey, Mr. Humphrey, it's not that you're disagreeing with that. That's part of the reason that you're saying financially you're going to have to start looking for somewhere that's less.
Yes. And we
All right.
did find a place, and we were planning on moving out at the end of the month. I did send an email to Ann about that, but I never received a email back from her.
Well, I don't think that they can stop you from moving out and moving to a new place, but it doesn't get rid of the monies that
No,
are
it doesn't.
outstanding on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that. I know
Okay.
that I owe the money, but I can't
Right.
pay it right now. So
Right, I get that.
I don't want
Right.
to get further deeper into
Right.
it.
Yeah, to keep living there, to have it be more. Well, Zoom in next Thursday at 8:30. You'll get paperwork. It's very similar to what you just did with me.
Okay.
And if you're gonna look into any other assistance, do so as much as you can so you can fill in Judge O'Hara next week.
Okay.
It doesn't stop you from talking to the representative at the apartment complex to make other decisions about when you're gonna leave or are you gonna move out or whatever.
Okay.
You just have to let us know.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks a lot. I sure appreciate it.
Yep.
Mr. Schieber,
Yes.
I just wanted to find out from Ms. Wilburn on your case, and you've been so patient. I really appreciate it because I think you were one of my first ones that zoomed in.
Yeah, no
Ms.
problem.
Wilburn, on the Schieber case, Northview Harbor actually had Mr. Schieber as an employee at one point, and he is planning on moving out. He knows he's got to move out. It was a termination of tenancy. It wasn't really a money issue. I didn't believe that Northview was asking for any money.
They're
but
not.
He can be out and finished and have the place cleaned up by Sunday this weekend. So I'm just putting down that the last day for cleanup is October 25, and he'll be out by 5 o'clock. Do you get that, Ms. Wilburn?
I did, Your Honor.
And I don't believe that the apartment complex was asking for any money, correct?
That's accurate, Your Honor.
Okay, then Mr. Schieber, we should be good to go, but you got to get your ducks in a row because I just got you to Sunday at 5 and you got to follow through with your end of it.
I will. Everything's planned out, ready to go.
Okay, thanks so much. I sure appreciate it.
Oh,
Your
thank
Honor.
you guys.
And
Ms. Wilburn?
are we setting a control date to verify that he's been out?
Yes.
Or
Yep, it's still next Thursday at 8:30. Just zoom in.
Okay.
Mr. Schieber, just like
Okay.
I told you before, yes, we're keeping it on.
Okay. And then, Your
Okay,
Honor, if he does
Yes.
turn in keys by then, we'll just dismiss the case prior to next
That's
Thursday.
fine, that'd be fine, that would work for him too.
Okay.
So
I'm
just take
planning on turning
take
keys
care of
in
it,
Sunday.
Yep, take care of it, Mr. Schieber. It's in your best interest to do so.
I'm on it.
All set, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Did Miss Streeter zoom in again? Miss Streeter?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there you are, Mandy Streeter.
Yeah.
Okay, on the Alpine Meadows case with that Thomas Giesbeck, Ms.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yep, Mr. Morton?
I spoke to my client. They confirmed with me that this matter is being dismissed based on payment that had been submitted.
Okay.
So was it this one's, was it not moving forward today?
So, Ms. Streeter, you were calling in earlier and you called early and I didn't want to forget you, but the attorney for the Alpine Meadows is telling me that the case has been dismissed because payment was made and we're back on board to wherever it was.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay,
Your
so
Honor.
you're good.
Thank you,
Okay, so
Patty.
you're good to go. Thank you. Didn't want to forget about you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ms.
Ms.
Thank you, Judge Smolenski. Have a good day.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Wanamaker, thanks for waiting. I see you there. Carrie Wanamaker. It's on D20, C03468, LT. Are you talking for Larry as well, Ms. Wanamaker, so you can fill him in on what's going on?
Yes.
Does Larry live with you?
No, he's at the hospital right now.
Uh-huh.
And
And so do you live separately?
yeah.
Okay, so are you divorced or are you just separated?
We're living separately because he has a guardianship and they aren't letting him come home yet.
Okay. Do you currently now live on your own?
Yes.
Okay. What is the total amount in this case, Mr. Morton?
Your Honor, at this time, the total balance due, including court costs, including the month of October, is $2,455.72. So that's $24,5572. From my understanding as well, I believe Ms. Wanamaker is in the process of working with the eviction diversion program.
Okay, so Ms. Wanamaker, have you talked to the Salvation Army already?
I've sent in paperwork and they said it would take 5 to 7 days.
Okay. All right, I think I'll have you talk to the Salvation Army representative right now. So take a minute and talk to Ms. DeKrieger. We're gonna put you in a separate room, then we'll have you come back, okay? Ms. Wanamaker, you don't dispute that that money is owed. You've just had difficulty making the payments, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to Ms. DeKrieger, and then I'll get back to you, because we're not making a decision today. Next week, you're going to have to zoom in, Ms. Wanamaker, at 8:30 on the 29th of October. It's Thursday. So I want to make sure you're clear on that. You have a right to have an attorney. And if you wanted to talk to an attorney, we have one that's meeting with another client right now, but we can have you talk to legal aid. But first start with the Salvation Army representative, okay?
Okay.
And then I'll be back with you. Thanks. Okay. Was Eric Wagner part of the Zoom?
Yes. Yes, Your
That's
Honor.
you guys? It's
Yep.
Anna and Eric Wagner?
Correct.
Thank you for your patience. It's file D20 C03629LT. I'm Judge Sara Smolenski. And this is a case where the Valley is claiming you guys owe money. And the representative, Mr. Morton, what's the claim on that one with the Wagners? Oh,
Sorry,
I'm
Your
sorry,
Honor.
Ms. Wilburn?
I was going to say, I don't know. I don't think this one was mine. I was trying to find it.
I apologize, Mr. Morton. Ms. Wilburn, are you still there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Look up the case with Eric and Anna Wagner. It ends in 3629LT.
1 second.
So let me tell you, the Wagners, you guys have to be available next Thursday. You heard me say it to others, but I don't want you to miss it. October 29, and it's at 8:30 in the morning. You'll get instructions on Zooming. It will be my colleague, Judge O'Hara. This is called a summary proceedings. We're not deciding it today, but we're gathering more information as to what's going to happen next week would be more definitive.
Okay.
I'm trying to ask the attorney for the Valley right now to tell me how much they claim you guys owe. Ms. Wilburn, what's that amount?
$4,598.83. There's court costs of $182.22. That brings the total to $4,781.05.
Okay. So what they're saying is $4781.05, which of course is a lot of money, Mr. and Mrs. Wagner. Have you talked with anybody so far about seeking out help or assistance?
Yes, I've called 211 Salvation Army and Volunteers of America.
Okay.
And we also sent in the moratorium to the Valley.
Okay.
I have
And when
not
you say-
received the moratorium, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It should be, it said attention Carl on it.
Did you mail that over to us or did you?
Emailed it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I should have called you. Checked up on it. Carl's
Mr. and
just
Mrs. Wagner, you don't dispute that you owe the money. You're just having trouble figuring out how to do it.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, my husband
And-
just got a new job, so he'll be starting in the next week or two. And that
Okay.
should definitely help substantially.
Okay. All right. So then you're looking into getting help. The moratorium was sent to the Valley. Next week, Thursday, you got to call in I'm going to have you meet with the Salvation Army representative right now so you can talk to her as part of the Zoom.
Okay.
Give me 1 second before I close you out on that. Now, Ms. DeKrieger, you had a chance to briefly talk to Ms. Wanamaker. Anything you need to give me to update us or anything?
Well, Miss Wanamaker does have an application. We have everything from her case, from her and her landlord. We're just calculating what she's eligible for and should get a decision, the numbers to the landlord before the end of the week.
Okay, so Ms. Wanamaker, you need to call back in Zoom next week, Thursday at 8:30. If you hear anything from the Salvation Army or the representative during that time, in between, follow up on what they're talking to you about so we can get the most updated information next week, Thursday at 8:30. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. That's it for right now then. We thank you, Ms. Wanamaker. Don't forget to Zoom in next Thursday, the 29th, 8:30 a.m. You'll get paperwork in the mail to tell you exactly the number. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Is Nicole Shoemaker there? No, not yet. Okay. And then, all right, let's see. Who's the one in the lower right? Do you have the lower right?
I don't know, it's unidentified.
The lady that's in the room with the really blue paint job, the blue, not you, not Shannon, not Shannon. The number is a K51 phone, K51. No, okay. We'll just move on. Shannon Wright, tell me again what connection you are again.
Hi there, I am the property manager at the Valley Townhomes.
The Valley Townhomes, okay. So that's fine. You'll want to keep an eye out on that paperwork that the Wagners said they sent over. I don't know.
Yep, I'm gonna go looking for that right now. She says she sent it via email, so I'll go take a look and see if it's in there.
Okay, that's fine. If the person on Zoom that's in a really blue room with like ocean colored blue and a door that has a white frame, can you hear me? It's a lady with a white t-shirt on, a white tank top. We're trying to find you. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, you. You.
Me?
Can you hear me? No, not you
Okay.
guys. Yes, you. Can you hear me? We can't hear you talk. This is like when you go into one of those, what's that game?
Oh, there we go.
Charades. Charades. Oh, Ms. Beasy? I wasn't talking to you exactly, but I got you now, so that's fine.
Sorry.
What? No, don't be sorry. You're great. I have a lot of people. It's like playing ping pong.
Right.
What case, what's the name of your landlord?
I don't know what they have it listed as. Let me see here, because she's the mother actually. So it's Britton a man, and then she's the guardian of Marta Heischetter.
Okay, Ms. Beasy, I'm being told that case was dismissed.
Oh, it was?
That's what I'm just told by my clerk, who's sharper than anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should not worry about it. And if you have any questions, you can call Dawn at the court.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Not Mr. Morton, not Ms. Wright, not Ms. Bossy, and not Ms. Wilburn. I'm trying to identify this other person on the Zoom. So ma'am, in the blue room, can you hear me? We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. You have to unmute. She's trying to figure it out. Somebody's helping her. Yeah. Ms. Vandenberg, I'll be with you in a second. Just hang on. See if this helps, Amanda. Okay.
He's trying to connect, so I don't know.
Can she see that?
I don't know.
Can you see it?
I can see it.
Unmute. Ms. Vandenberg, can you help me understand what case you're calling in on?
It is. Is there like a number or something I'm supposed to have?
No, just your name and the name of the landlord. Is it Con Keeler?
Yeah, he doesn't live here anymore though.
So Shelby Vandenberg was a partner with that, or a roommate, roommate with that Keeler, but that's a guy and he does not live there anymore?
Correct.
Okay, so is it just you?
Correct.
It's on file D20 C03466LT.
Yep.
And what I wanted to ask you, Ms. Vandenberg, is I'm Judge Sara Smolenski.
Okay.
And this is called a summary proceedings hearing. It's not going to be finalized today. It's kind of a pretrial hearing where we talk about some of the issues involved in your case. Okay. And Mr. Morton, is that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your case, Alpine Meadows with Shelby Vandenberg?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
So what's the claim that you're making in that case with Ms. Vandenberg?
Your Honor, at this time, Ms. Vandenberg is past due, including the month of October and court costs, for $3,568.36. So that's $35,68.36.
She's alleging that this Con Keeler does no longer live there, that it's just her.
I know that from my understanding from talking to my client, they're in the process of trying to have them removed. However, in order for everything to be processed, the balance needs to be current, which it is not. In addition to that, was it because they're not going to necessarily remove a party until everything's current?
Okay, so Ms. Keeler, you need to know as a summary proceeding, you have a right to have an attorney, and we have a representative of legal aid here as part of the Zoom if you wanted to talk to him. If you qualify for financial assistance, you should be looking into every aspect of what you could qualify for, because this is a lot of money, of course. We have a representative of the Salvation Army with us if you wanted to talk to her.
I
And
have
also
been talking to them.
You have?
Correct.
Okay,
I know
good.
I've talked to my client as well, but they have not received anything from the EDP yet in regards to Miss Vandenberg, and I think Miss Bossy can confirm that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to follow through with them, Ms. Vandenberg.
But they haven't received anything from what?
Diversion and rental assistance program.
Correct.
But why don't I let you talk to Ms. Krieger when she's done talking to the next person? Because I think maybe she could look up something and see where your application sits or what it looks like right now.
Okay, because I
you agree.
So I don't know what else they're waiting on.
Yeah. You agree you owe the money. You just are trying to figure out how to get some assistance to pay it off.
Correct.
Yeah. I think Ms. Krieger is with somebody else right now. Correct. So just give me a minute if you would, Ms. Keeler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to get that representative to talk to you in a second, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, yep, I'm back to Ms. Shoemaker and the group. They were here a minute ago. Ms. Peters, Mr. Johnson, and Ms. Shoemaker, you guys talked with the representative from Legal Aid and Salvation Army?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that you've got a Zoom in next week. That'll be the 29th at 8:30.
Yes.
And whatever documentation you have on your CDC affidavits, try to get those up to date so that you can tell Judge O'Hara about those.
Okay.
I had said that it's Peters and Johnson, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I will have Nicole fill out hers.
Okay, that's fine. And then let him know that next week, because that's going to have an impact on this. Any other questions that you can think of?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Don't forget and tell the others, please. Zoom in at 8:30 on the 29th.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to see if the Wagners are back. Are they back yet? Okay, I'm still trying to figure out who that lady in the middle is. I cannot get a hold of her. She doesn't hear me. With the blue? Yeah, you. Yeah, yeah.
It just asked me to.
Okay, now I hear you.
It just finally popped up and said, "Do you want to unmute?" Otherwise, I could.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad because for like, well, you've seen me. I've been trying to get who you are and
what do I
playing
do?
charades. It sounds like whatever. Okay, who are you, ma'am?
Kara Richardson.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Richardson. Let me grab your file so I
Okay.
can fill in a little bit about what's going on as it relates to this.
Okay.
And is Bradford going to be around?
He's right over here. He's just kind of just woke up. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Well, you'll have to fill him in.
Okay.
Because we've got both of you, we only have his name down.
Oh, okay.
And let me just say, I'm still waiting, Ms. Vandenberg, for the representative from Salvation Army, so hang in. But I was talking to some of the other tenants about what's going on. This is called a summary proceeding.
Okay.
I'm so excited that you can hear me and I can hear you now. I hardly know how to act. But nothing's going to happen today, not to be funny, but we're not going to have a final decision today.
Okay.
This is called a first pretrial hearing, and they automatically set it for next week, Thursday at 8:30.
Okay.
So now that you're a pro at zooming in, you're going to have to do it again next Thursday at 8:30. But don't forget, because they're going to have more decisions to be made then.
Gotcha.
Now, Mr. Morton, on the case with Ms. Richardson, what is the amount that you're claiming is owed? It's Bradford Richardson. It's under his name.
Okay.
And the file number is D20C03718. I'm sorry, 3918, 3918.
Bradford Richardson. Your Honor, give me one moment on that one. That is a file that we just realized I had not had in front of me. So if I could pass that
That's
for
all
one
right.
moment.
You grab that and let me finish telling Ms. Richardson and Ms. Vandenberg some of the rules that I was going over with people. But you definitely have the right to have an attorney, anybody in a case like an eviction. There's a program called the Eviction Diversion and Rental Assistance Program that was established during the pandemic. And the Supreme Court is having us follow really a whole new set of rules, but it's meant to be a win-win for both the landlord and the tenant, helping people not be evicted when they've fallen behind in their rent.
Right.
Like I said, you have the right to have an attorney. You have the right to have help through Salvation Army, veterans programs. There are different assistance programs that are available depending on what you're involved in and stuff like that. Like a non-veteran can't get veteran help, but veterans can get help through the veterans program.
Right.
We use programs like the Dispute Resolution Center of West Michigan. Sometimes parties will make an agreement. They call it a conditional dismissal. And they work out an agreement between the landlord and tenant where the people stay in the property and they just make smaller payments over a period of time or whatever. You guys have to for sure zoom in next Thursday at 8:30 because that'll be a follow-up as to more definitively what's happening. I'm just asking the attorney, Ms. Richardson, to know what's the amount that they claim you guys owe for your apartment.
Your Honor, if I may.
What was that, Mr. Morton?
It's $3,972.50. That includes the month of October and court costs. And my client has confirmed that they have not received any eviction diversion paperwork yet.
Have not.
Correct.
Yeah, and Ms. Richardson, you and Bradford, you guys don't disagree you owe the money. You just had financial hardship to make it, right?
Right. Well, when we actually were about to pay our rent for September on the 8th, and then they let us know that the program where they deferred 2 months of our rent, apparently if you pay late, then that becomes due. So it added like another $2,000 something on in the beginning of September, and we just didn't have that. So I have actually almost 2 months rent. So I would be, if that extra $2,000 or so wasn't thrown on there, I'd be pretty close to having all of it paid. But we are, we're working with the Kent Community Action. So I had an appointment with her on the phone Friday, and then we'll talk again over like another Zoom meeting on Thursday. There was a
Okay.
couple more papers I needed to get for her.
Okay.
Hopefully
I'm
they're
gonna have you talk with our representative from the Salvation Army, though. I think you should talk to her. She's right on the screen. And we'll put you in a separate room on that. And, first, Ms. Vandenberg is gonna talk with her, and then you'll be talking with her, Ms. Richardson. So give me a minute. Now, Ms. DeKrieger, you talked with the Wagners,
No.
and they're looking into getting help? Yeah. So Eric and Anna Wagner, you guys are gonna have to Zoom in next week, Thursday, the 29th at 8:30. Continue doing what you're supposed to be doing to try to get the assistance, follow up. Because if there's any new information to give Judge O'Hara next Thursday, that's what you're gonna wanna do. Okay?
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Ms. DeKrieger, we're gonna put you in a room with Ms. Vandenberg. And, have you talk with Shelby Vandenberg? The other tenant moved out, she'll probably tell you that too. But it's about $3,500 that's owed on that one. And then when you're through with Ms. Vandenberg, I'll have you talk with Ms. Richardson, okay, Ms. DeKrieger?
All right.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Wilburn, on the Valley case with Taishia Brown,
Yes, Your Honor.
that's on file D20 C03631 LT. Can you tell me what the claim is owed on that one?
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. And I will note, my client did receive a CDC affidavit from her.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to put a stop to things, at least temporarily, until we figure out what's going on. That might be why she's not here, although she should still appear.
Shannon, do you have her total?
Yep, just give me one moment. I actually have it pulled up right here.
Okay, that's fine.
My apologies, my system is glitching, so just one moment.
No, no apology needed.
Okay, I have a total of, for the month of October, I have $8,844.60 plus costs.
And Your Honor, I
Okay.
think with one defendant, those costs would be $156.22.
Okay. Well, we'll just note right now that the CDC affidavit was filed and that'll stop the case. We'll still put it on for next week, Thursday, 10/29 at 8:30, and the defendant will be notified of such.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay? Okay. We're gonna start with the 245 cases. Mr. Ashby,
Yes,
are you a tenant or a landlord
a tenant,
at the Valley?
correct.
Was Calvin gonna be part, are you with Calvin and Richard, even though I see your name is Robert?
It's Kelvin, Robert, and it's my husband and myself.
Okay, that's fine. I said it because I didn't have a name Robert. I just had Calvin and Richard, but you know who you are, so I'm good with it. But you gotta let Richard know what's going on. Are you with me?
Yeah, I can let Robert know. I've talked to him. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I think I have both of you on.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh, I have both of you on. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay, so tell me if you would then, Ms. Wilburn, from the Valley case with the Ashby family, What's the
Yes,
claim
Your
on
Honor.
that?
Right now, rent to retain is $3,391.39. There are court costs of $182.22, and that total is $3,573.59.
Okay, both Mr. Ashby's, can you both hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and this is what's called a summary proceeding. We're not going to finalize your case today, but it is like a pretrial hearing where we talk about, I asked the attorney for the Valley, they're alleging you guys owe a little over $3,500. You both have the right to have an attorney. We have a representative from legal aid that's part of our Zoom if you want to talk to them. If you cannot financially afford to hire an attorney, you can talk to an attorney from legal aid and see if you qualify to have them represent you. There are other agencies available to get assistance like the Salvation Army. You do not need a judgment to receive assistance. Even the summons and complaint from the court are sufficient to get help. We have other programs that we use like the Dispute Resolution Center of West Michigan to try to resolve cases. We also have what they call conditional dismissals. Sometimes the landlord and tenant will talk together and they'll make a conditional dismissal where the case actually gets dismissed, but there's an agreement to work out the difference on whatever their agreement is. During the COVID pandemic, there's been this eviction diversion and rental assistance program started by the Supreme Court in order to help people not be evicted. And some of these organizations are set up so that the landlord would work in conjunction with this eviction diversion program to give people a chance to catch back up. Now, I'll just say, since I'm seeing you there, Calvin Ashby and Robert Ashby, do you guys agree that you've fallen behind? You just need time to pay it or get help or resources to take care of it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you looked into any help yet?
I have not.
No? Yeah. And you guys are still living together as spouses, correct?
No.
No, we're not.
That's the issue I wasn't clear on. Okay, that's fine. I'm not Houdini up here, so I don't know, but sometimes people call in separately and they're still married. So you're gonna have to look into that. I don't know if that creates any difficulty. Who's still living in the apartment?
Neither one of us.
You both moved out?
Yes.
Okay.
I was having
So is
some.
it completely empty? Like, did you turn the keys over?
I haven't turned any keys over yet. No.
Well, that doesn't really help you as far as stopping rent when you've moved out. You know what I mean?
From my understanding, we would still had to come here regardless.
Yes, you do, and that's good. You did both have to come here. And in fact, I'd suggest you both should sign in next Thursday at 8:30 in the morning on the 29th to get even more of a final definitive answer of what's happening. But you're telling me that neither live at the apartment now.
Correct.
No.
Okay. So really, it's just about trying to figure out how you're going to pay the money over time, like any other creditor-debtor situation.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
like a Visa, MasterCard, JCPenney bill. I mean, you're going to have to work it out. And I don't know if you're going to go through a divorce. I don't want to get into too much of your personal business. But, you know, that if there is going to be the divorce, you would say, talk to your representatives about that, because this is a marital debt that you got to deal with however you deal with everything else you're dealing with. I don't know if that makes sense, but do you get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, do you want a chance to talk with anybody, or do you think you pretty much have this? Do you want to talk with anybody like Salvation Army? Do you want to talk? Because that would keep you in the apartment. You're not staying. You're both out for sure, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't think you need to talk to the Salvation Army, but you guys, I'm suggesting that you both hook up next week on Zoom, 8:30 a.m. so you get more of a definitive answer. Even if it just elaborates exactly this amount, so you know exactly what the end number is.
Right.
Okay, Calvin, Ashby,
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
understand?
I do, yes.
All right, Robert, do you understand?
I do, yes, ma'am.
And that's
And
the
then
20.
don't forget, you will get paperwork, but see, I don't know if we have your new addresses. We probably don't have them unless your old address forwards it to you, like the Valley. Go
I
ahead.
have, mine's being forwarded, and
It
I
is?
think, yes, and it'll be probably duplicated, whatever you sent him, and I can let him know
Yeah,
what
just let them know, because you should definitely both be on that Zoom. If you have any questions, Robert, you could call the court before the 29th, because we could tell you then too, okay?
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks so much for your courtesy. You're free to disconnect.
Thank
Your Honor, quick question for you.
Yeah, hold on one second, Ashby's, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I just had a quick question. If they turned in possession of their keys, are they able to do that as well? Turn in the possession? Okay,
Oh, yeah,
that's
they
all.
should. I said that.
Yep,
I said
I
that
just want to
because
make
that's the only thing that's gonna stop the rent from keep accruing.
exactly. Yep. So if
You
you
get
guys
that,
want to
you
give,
guys?
yep.
And
So if
that
you guys want to
means-
give me a call, we can go over it.
We could have probably done it a month ago.
Okay. It also means getting everything that you own out, because once you turn your keys in, you're done.
Right.
All right, thanks, you guys. Thank you, Ms. Bossy. Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Vandenberg, you had a chance to talk to the representative, and now you already put her in with Richardson? Amanda? Yeah, but I mean, did you put Mr. Krieger in with Ms. Richardson? Yeah, you can do that now. So you can put DeKrieger and Richardson in. So Ms. Vandenberg, you had a chance to talk to the representative from the Salvation Army.
Yep.
I want to make sure you know you got to Zoom in next week, Thursday the 29th at 8:30.
Okay.
Do you want to talk to the legal aid representative today? Do you think that's going to be of any help to you?
I think I should be okay. I think they were just missing something and I wasn't aware, so I'll just get that sent in.
All right, so make sure you put that Johnny on the spot, number one to do, so that next Thursday you have whatever information they can get and move on with this, okay?
Yep.
All right, so don't forget, Thursday the 29th, 8:30. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. You can sign out.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Bobby Joe Sloop A? Can
Yes.
you hear me? What case were you calling in on?
I'm with the Hilltop at 3.
Okay, that's fine, then hang tough, Hilltop. Okay, so Bruce? You guys, I'm talking to you, the couple that just hooked up?
Bruce, Carla?
Fixing your glasses, taking your glasses off?
Yep.
All right, tell me your last name.
Hartwick.
For some reason, you sound a long way from the microphone and it sounded like you said Hartwig.
Hartwick, I'm sorry.
It's Carla?
Yep, with the C.
Okay, I'm gonna have your case in just a second, Ms. Hartwick. Hang on a second.
Sure.
So let's do the Byron Center cases I have right now, and that's Nicole Volkema, D20, C03431LT. All right, and Mr. Morton, what do you have on the Volkema case?
Your Honor, the Volkemas, I think it's Volkema, was it submitted a CDC declaration? At this point, they're continuing to work with the eviction aversion program, but my client's going to have me submit an administrative closing on this one temporarily at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Morton. I'd like to move to the next Byron Center case. That is the case with Haley Tanner. It's on file D20 C03432. What do you have on that one, Mr. Morton?
Nothing other than the fact that the rent has not been paid. So as of today's date, including the month of including court costs, there's $3,326.76 past due. So $3326.76 we'd look for to see what kind of service was completed.
Personal service was made, and we only have the one defendant, Haley Tanner. Did anyone, I'm sorry? Did anyone zoom in for Haley Tanner? Court record should reflect it's 5-3, and the Tanner matter was set at 2:45. And nobody zoomed in for Haley Tanner. They did get personal service. So we're going to continue with a default judgment. Okay. I'm getting a spam call on my wristwatch. You know how you do that. Okay. We'll go with the default judgment, 332676. Can you just, for the purposes of the paperwork, Mr. Morton, give me the breakdown?
Absolutely, Your
Of
Honor.
the-
Rents retained, Your Honor, are $3,132.76. Court costs of $194 for a total of $3,326.76.
Okay, sounds good, and we'll enter that as a default judgment then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one I had was the Valley, Ms. Wilburn versus Patricia Hayes, D20 C03 632 LT. Did anyone zoom in for Patricia Hayes? Not hearing anyone, Ms. Wilburn, what was the amount in that case?
Your Honor, for Ms. Hayes, rent to retain is $4,372.05. There's court costs of $156.22. That total is $4,528.27.
45.28 and 27 cents. There was personal service on this Patricia Hayes. She'll get notification about next week, Thursday, the 29th at 8:30. Today,
Your Honor,
we'll just say the different, yes?
if there was personal service, am I able to get a default today?
It was only posted service.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it was personal service.
I might have said it wrong, but I wrote posted. It's posted service, so no.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you saying something, Dawn?
No, I was just gonna say.
Okay, yep. Okay, that's it for right now on that one. I'll get back to you here, Ms. Hartwick. I know you called in. Sir in the red t-shirt on the Galaxy S10, what's your last name? Can't hear me? Maybe he can't hear me yet. Okay. Is anybody on the Zoom for Kirby Knott?
Yes, Carla.
Okay. And who is that? Kirby?
Kirby,
My
yep.
landlord.
Do you have video capacity, Mr. Knott?
I do not, it appears.
That's fine. What's the claim that you have against Carla Hartwick?
Back owed rent right now is $18.35. Actually,
As in $1,835?
yes.
Okay, and then court costs on top of that?
Court costs on top of that, and then late fees for a grand total of
What were the late
2,000.
fees? How much were you claiming were late fees?
$15 on the 1 month, and then
I just need a total, Mr. Knott.
the
Late
grand total
fees.
is
No. I want the total of the late fees. Did you do it like that or not?
total of it's $15 per month for a late
Okay,
fee.
Okay, I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't know how many months 1835 is.
I understand that.
You have to do the subtraction. Just give me your final total.
The final total is $2,038.68.
Okay. Ms. Hartwick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you live there with anyone else?
No,
Okay. Are you agreeing that you owe that amount of money that he's talking about?
I do. I do. I'm
Okay.
gonna go through the disability claims.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback. You're farther from the microphone than you need to be because we're having a hard time.
All
You
right.
said you do agree with the money it's owed, but you're on disability?
Except for 400, I made a money order out the 22nd of last month. And there might be 400 deducted.
So you claim you paid $400 on the 22nd of September,
22nd, yes,
but not sure if it counted?
exactly.
All right, well, they can look into that. Assuming you guys talk about whether the $400 get credited or not, or whether Mr. Knott got it or not. That sounded funny because his last name is Knott. You guys are gonna have to talk about it to see where you're at. Because next week, Thursday, you both have to Zoom in with Judge O'Hara. In the meantime, you can talk to each other and figure out the exact amount. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that part out, but you do need to talk to each other. Now, Ms. Hartwick, are you looking at getting help from any organizations?
Yes, it's,
Have you talked to the Salvation Army?
yes,
Okay.
yep.
Do you want to talk to them today? We have a representative with us.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in a room to talk to the Salvation Army. Mr. Knott, you can still stay on. I'm just trying to get a feel for where we're at.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand completely.
And Ms. Hartwick.
Yes.
I don't want to sound like I'm losing my mind, but there's a lot of people I've been talking to all afternoon. And I didn't remember if I went over with you this eviction diversion and rental assistance program.
Through the Salvation Army.
Right, the Salvation Army can help, veterans programs can help, legal aid, we have a representative from legal aid because you have a right to have an attorney if you want to seek out some assistance or help. I'm thinking that it would be helpful for you to talk to our representative from the Salvation Army right now to see what, if anything, you have to do further to get some answers from them for next week, Thursday.
All right.
Okay? Yep. All right, so hang tight. I'm going to have you. She's talking to one other person right now. And as soon as they come back from that meeting, I'm going to have them talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. I'd like to move to the Byron Center representative for the Irene Salazar Bont case, D20 C03434LT. And that's Mr. Morton, your
Yes,
case?
Your Honor.
What's the claim on that one?
Your Honor, at this time, past due balance, including the month of October, and court cost is $3,044.94.
There's two people listed on this apartment, Bont Salazar and Brandon S-O-N-T. I wonder if that's a misspelling.
Well, I have Brandon Bront and Irene Salazar Bont.
Oh yeah, they spelled Brandon's last name wrong. If their last name is really B as in boy, O-N-T, they had him down as S-O-N-T. At any rate, it was posted service. We'll make a note that the defendants have failed to appear. We'll also make a note that they'll get instructions to call next week, Thursday, at 8:30 a.m., and then we'll take it from there.
So my guess is personal service wasn't completed, Your Honor?
No, it was not posted
Okay.
on both of them.
Understood.
I'll tell you when it's personal. I mean, I look at it every time, so
No worries.
I try to catch those. Those are the only ones I can take action on. Otherwise, I got to wait on every one. Okay, the next case I had was Dutton Mill Village with Ian Rasmussen, file D20 C03452.
Your Honor, was it the court should have received an administrative closing on this one based on a declaration that was filed, and they're also working with the eviction diversion program still.
Okay.
But my client's chosen to administratively close this one.
Okay. Thanks for that information, Mr. Morton, that helps. Today's 10/20/2020, in case anybody cares. I just have been writing it about 100 times. Okay, Hilltop Mobile Home Park, Jerwan Middleton, D20 C03835LT. We had the Hilltop representative here, that's Attorney Knoll. And I think we had your manager here as well, Ms. Knoll.
Yes, that's Bobby Joe Sloop.
Ms. Sloop, I talked to her earlier when she zoomed in. Okay, is that Mr. Middleton on the Galaxy S10? We cannot hear you, Mr. Middleton. You have to unmute yourself. There's a button that says join audio. Join audio or unmute. So far, we cannot hear you. Still cannot hear you. Is there anybody in your household that can help you? No, you're on your own. Okay.
Got it. I got it.
There you got it. Now you got it. Okay, good. It's funny how that always makes everybody feel good when you can finally make the connection. 10, 15 minutes ago, I was trying to get through to you, Mr. Middleton, but I didn't know who you were. And I kept saying the guy in the red shirt. But thanks for hooking up and thanks for staying with it. Thanks for staying with Zoom. Ms. Noel, what's the claim that you're making against Mr. Middleton?
Failure to pay rent.
Okay.
Right
And
now,
yep, go ahead.
right now we show that he owes $959.84 in rent. We have $144.63 in service and filing fees, and then an attorney fee.
And the total is what?
$1,329.47.
Okay. Mr. Middleton, I just wanted to let you know, I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and this is what's called a summary proceeding. We're not going to make a final decision today. The case will not be resolved, but it's like a pretrial where we talk about, well, how much money do you owe? Do you agree that you owe it or not? Does anybody else live there with you? Is it anybody else's responsibility or just yours? We kind of talk about those kind of things. There is an eviction, diversion, and rental assistance program that has been started during the COVID pandemic, principally to help people not be evicted that have fallen behind in their rent. You have a right to have an attorney, and we have a representative from Legal Aid on the Zoom meeting if you wanted to talk to them. You can qualify for financial assistance through a number of programs, and we have a representative from the Salvation Army here today that you could also talk to. You don't need a judgment to get financial assistance from the Salvation Army. Just the summons and complaint is enough. And there are some programs that we use, like the Dispute Resolution Center, or sometimes parties will do a conditional dismissal where they make an agreement on their own and dismiss the case. But next week, it's really important that you put down on your calendar Thursday, the 29th of October at 8:30 in the morning, because you're going to be required to Zoom in again next Thursday, October 29 at 8:30. As I indicated, this case will not be resolved today, but there may be further decisions made on it next Thursday, and you want to be part of that Zoom. Okay, now.
Okay.
With that money that they're claiming owed, which I might add, Mr. Middleton, is the lowest amount of any case I've had all afternoon. That's a good news. It's still a lot of money because it's $1,300. I had one today that was $12,000 in rent. So if that's the amount they're talking about, are you, like at this point, are you agreeing that you owe it? You're just having some financial difficulty paying it?
Yes.
Okay.
And yes, I'm having difficulty. I'm paying in payments weekly, but then that's a problem too, because my checks go to my bank account, which is overdraft, and it takes away. But today I changed that, and now I'm gonna get regular pay, and it's going through a Myers card because I work at Myers. And I talked to the Salvation Army lady today. She called me back, and I told her I sent in the forms and all the pay stubs and all that a couple weeks ago, but she said when I sent it to Monroe office, it's just sitting on the desk. So she emailed me earlier with another application, and I'm gonna send it through email this time. She wants me to send it through an email.
Okay. Well, it doesn't hurt you to talk to the representative from the Salvation Army. She's talking to another client right now. But if you could hang on for a few minutes, we'll let you talk to her when you're done, and maybe she has a way to look up whether there's any fast track that can be done or anything else. I'm sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
No, she looked up, the lady that I talked to today looked it up.
Oh,
And she
okay.
said it was there because it hasn't been processed yet. And she
Okay.
asked me where did I send it. And I told her I sent it to the office on Monroe Street. And she said, well, most likely it's just sitting on their desk, because she said one of the offices were closed and it's just sitting there. But she gave me another assessment today.
So you're gonna email it? You're gonna take care of whatever she asked you to do?
Yeah, she sent me all the stuff.
That's
And so
good.
here, I'm going to
Okay.
get my pay stubs and all that now. as soon
Okay,
as
that's
I get
good.
off.
It sounds like you're doing what you're supposed to, but time is of the essence. That's my
Yes,
point.
yes,
Because
I know
next Thursday, you're gonna wanna get an answer so that you can tell Judge O'Hara what's going on with what you found out with what they've done with your application. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I will let her know
Okay,
that
that
too. I
sounds
have her
good.
email.
So listen, just hook up next week, Thursday, 8:30. Don't forget, the 29th. And then you're good to go. But just follow up with your Salvation Army person representative that told you what to do, okay? Kind of went frozen for a minute. He might come back. Okay.
Oh, no.
You're good. You're good, Mr. Middleton. I just want to make sure you follow through with what you're supposed to do.
Oh, well, now I'll be letting Buddy Joe know.
Okay, all set. Thank you so much.
Your Honor,
So
Yes.
do I just
may I
hang up
interrupt
or-
real quick?
Yeah, hold on one second, Mr. Middleton. Don't hang up. Go ahead, Ms. Wilburn.
Not for him. I just need to get an email address for Mr. Henry to coordinate on some of the cases.
Okay, Mr. Henry, can you give us the email that you have? Mr. Middleton, you're good to disconnect. Don't forget
Okay.
about next Thursday, the 29th,
All right, thank you.
8:30.
You
Go
said
ahead,
you
Mr.
needed
Henry.
my email?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll message you. Oh, wait, no, I can't message you. Okay, I'll just say it out loud then.
Well, wait a minute. If you want us to go off live, so you don't want your email out there, we can go off live.